I praise God that I stand here today, and I thank you for listening to my story. I had an abortion in March of 1973, over 30 years ago. I was 19 years old, and like one of the sisters has already said, I was a sophomore in college, and I had just been accepted into a junior year abroad program to study in Paris. When I missed my period in February, I went to the student clinic that was on campus, and I was devastated to find out that I was pregnant. I couldn't bear the thought of telling my parents. My boyfriend and I had just broken up, and I had plans that I just didn't think I could change. And I was told about there was a new law passed where I could go to Washington, D.C. and have an abortion, that it was legal. I wanted to do it as quickly as possible because I had convinced myself that if I did it before 8 weeks, it really wasn't a baby. I didn't tell my boyfriend. I borrowed the money from a friend, and she told me she had had an abortion in high school and that she was back doing her dance routine the next day. She told me that it was no big deal. In March, 2 of my friends drove me to Washington, D.C. from North Carolina and dropped me off at the clinic here. It was a horrible experience. They told me that it wouldn't hurt, but I was in excruciating pain. They told me to stop crying and to be still as the sound of a vacuum cleaner screamed in the room. The doctor never looked at me or spoke to me. When my friends picked me up, I cried the whole way back to school. It was a big deal. I spent the rest of the year in a fog, and I wanted to die. I wanted to tell my mother and find her comfort, but I never did tell her, and I didn't tell anyone. A part of me died that day, my heart and my soul. When I went to Paris, I developed salpingitis and I had to be hospitalized. I tried to hide my depression, and I thought I didn't deserve to live. When I came home that summer, I considered suicide, but God was always protecting me from myself. Praise God. My senior year in college was the year that I put on the mask to hide my pain, my shame, and my fear. I slowly learned to stuff away my feelings. Every March, I would suffer a major depression. When the word abortion was said in public, I would become so afraid that someone would find out that I had aborted my baby that I would literally stop breathing. After I was married and I was raising my 4 children, I would listen to Dr. Dobson on Focus on the Family. And I slowly admitted my sin to God. I asked him for forgiveness. And then I finally believed that he forgave me after 30 years of being in the prison of pain, shame, and regret. Participation in a Bible study, Forgiven and Set Free, just a year and a half ago allowed me to share my story for the very first time with my church last January. My mother passed away in 1977, and she never knew. And this Thanksgiving, I told my father. He told me that there was nothing I could ever do that would make him love me any less. This Friday, before I came up here, my husband lit a candle for our baby, Joshua, at a remembrance service. I stand here as a miracle of God today because I'm alive and that I'm free from my self-imposed prison of pain, shame, and regret. Jesus Christ offers every woman that has had an abortion that same gift. And I want to share the good news with you that there is healing and restoration. That is why I am no longer afraid or ashamed or embarrassed to share my story in public, and that is why I am silent no more. And my name is Denise, and my last name is Nixon.